In this episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about Waistcoats and Weaponry by Gail Carriger. I should have kept my really suck at this. I should have kept that in.
You started strong, it's fine.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult books, series, authors, and voice actors that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I think I'm Claire.
I think so. You're a Mad Hatter and I am a magician's assistant.
Oh yes, that is very happy birthday. Today we're going to discuss Waistcoats and Weaponry by Gail Carriger.
Standard disclaimer. If you haven't read this book, please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers. If you haven't read or listened and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening to us and go read or listen to the book. Then come back. If you haven't done this but want to pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just like the show so much that you don't care about any of that, then listen up. And watch as I pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Milady. Can I say how excited I am about wearing a top hat?
You can.
I'm excited to be wearing a top hat.
Me too.
There we go.
I'm excited about being a dandy vampire today.
Yes, we're dandy vampires, not a magician's assistant and a Mad Hatter. Yeah. Love it. You look fantastic.
You look fantastic. Everyone needs to remember that this month we're sharing all of our videos online. You don't even have to be a member of our Patreon at all, although you should be, to watch these videos. So, I mean, we have to outdo ourselves every week. And I mean,
no pressure.
I don't know if anything is going to top the Dandy Vampire.
I know. We've been so excited for the Dandy Vampire.
We have been. We really, really have been.
Just going to do some customary screenshots. Pose! I think I moved. Anywho, do we have any background information for Waistcoats and Weaponry?
We do, and I chose this bit especially for the cover photo I'm going to take this week. Yes. So, found on gailcarriger.com, which seriously, if you have not gone to check out her website, it's amazing. There's so much information on Miss Gail's website. It's so fun. So this is from an article that she wrote or talked about or a blog post or whatever you want to call it, called Waistcoats and Weaponry Breaking Down the Cover. Sophronia's fan. She says, I don't interfere much with my cover art often, or I try not to. I think Little Brown did a great job, and they did. Mm-hmm. But for Waistcoats and Weaponry, I really pushed the fan. I mean, it's key to the plot and Sophronia's favorite. Then she says, I even went so far as to mail my fan to New York so it could be a prop in the photo shoot. I cannot tell you how delighted I am that they used it. Isn't that adorable? That's her real fan.
That is amazing.
In the cover, but they photoshopped blades onto the end. Her fan is not actually bladed.
Of course. I mean, I don't know if you would be able to ship a bladed fan cross country.
No, I don't think so. But I'm excited because long ago, I made a fan that kind of looks like the one that's on the cover.
Yes.
So it's going to be in our episode picture this week.
Making with Bumper Suit is one of my craft projects for the future. It's something I wanted to do for a long time, and it's there in my head.
Yeah.
Just need to get the materials. So exciting. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that might be one of my favorite background info things.
Isn't it really neat?
Ever.
That's her actual fan. And if you look at this article or at this blog post on her website, she's there's a picture of her posing with the fan. It's super cute. Miss Gail is so adorable.
Close up.
Yeah, there it is. That's Miss Gail's actual fan.
Wow.
I know.
Scully is dressed as a dandy today as well.
Oh, that's delightful.
He has a purple cravat.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
Anywho.
This book is my favorite of this quartet.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know. I read them as one just giant story.
Right.
So I find it difficult to separate, but the concept of it, a heist story.
Yeah.
It's just magnificent.
Yeah. And I mean, not that I don't love Mademoiselle Geraldine's Finishing Academy for Young Ladies of Quality, but I like that they're outside of the school in the majority of this one.
Yes, it's nice to take them out of the comfort of the school setting and to see that they have the skills and the capabilities of handling everything outside of the school.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Miss Gale is never a chore to read, is she?
No. These are like comfort reads.
Completely. Funny story this week. I was talking to a colleague at work, and she's a huge bibliophile as well. She's joined a book club and actually pushed Fictional Hangover. So hi.
Hey.
And she went, "Oh, I've just been reading this book. This book, and it's reminded me of this other author. You might like them." I went, "Oh, who?" Gail Carriger. I went, "Oh, my sweet summer child. I refer you to multiple episodes, including interviews." She's very jealous that we've had the opportunity to speak to Miss Gale in the past, and that Miss Gale is integral to our origin story.
She so is. She's amazing.
Let's do this. Let's go and see
before
Sophonian Soap.
Before we have emotions.
0.001%.
Professor Braithwaite, leagues in the air and with Sister Maddie's prized foxglove on his head, is twirling back and forth between the pilot's bubble and the deck of Mademoiselle Geraldine's Finishing Academy for Young Ladies of Quality. Since his fall from the dirigible where his tether snapped, the vampire teacher has displayed increasingly strange behavior. No top hat, and he's sporting a cape. Professor Braithwaite asks one of the young ladies in his class to dance, and Sophronia steps onto the plank. As they dance, Professor Braithwaite's conversation flitters about from Queen Victoria not liking punch to the supernatural's distrust of mechanicals. Lady Lynette, fetched by Agatha, who's worried for a friend, calls Professor Braithwaite back to the deck and asks him to please bring Miss Temenick with him. Nimbly, Professor Braithwaite returns, leaving a precariously balanced Sophronia behind.
Ooh.
Oh.
Thank goodness Sophronia has her Hurley and uses the handy little device to climb into the pilot's bubble, shedding petticoats to squeeze through the hatch. Instead of finding people, Sophronia sees a giant mechanical pilot. Whilst taking in the scene, an egg-shaped pod arrives through a communication tube with a note inside from Professor LeFou, providing instructions for Sophronia to locate a rope ladder.
Can I just interject here that poor Sophronia cannot keep a petticoat?
No, not a single one.
She's lost so many petticoats.
I think there's a quote about being an intelligencer is hard on the petticoat or something like that.
Yes, there is. After tea, the ladies have lessons with Captain Nile, and they tease Sidhay for her obvious preference for their werewolf teacher. While they chat, Prussia skulks in. Since Monique left the school for the Westminster Vampire Hive, Prussia has taken over as chief thorn in their side. Case in point, she is terribly unkind to Agatha, which Sidhay does not stand for, and therefore threatens Prussia with an attack of nibbly bits. On the way to their lesson, Professor LeFou asks to speak to Sidhay, who has been sent A pigeon. Something big must have happened to warrant a pigeon.
Oh my god. As they disembark, Sophronia spots Soap, who is manning the deployment crank, and gives her a cheeky wink.
Oh.
Captain Niall is introducing the ladies to a new weapon, bladed fan. Guards have been added to safety and to stop Dimity from fainting. However, during a duel between Sophronia and Pressure, the nasty girl strips the guard and slices Sophronia's arm, resulting in a crumpling Dimity. She really needs to get over this whole blood thing.
She does.
Sophronia leaves the guard on and switches from defensive moves to offensive, pressing Pressure towards the stream. Reaching into her chandelier, Sophronia plucks her perfume and flicks some of the liquid into Pressure's eyes, causing her to fall back and into the stream. Once the duel is over, Captain Niall calls for Lady Kingair to tend to Sophronia's arm, but she confesses that Sidhay isn't there because she received a pigeon. After lessons, Sophronia decides she adores the fan and desperately wants one. Dimity, when she comes round, points out she will need one in every colour to match her outfits and suggests Sophronia gets a patron to finance her. Sophronia has been keeping up correspondence with Lord Akildama, who has sent her occasional gifts, so maybe he could send her a fan or be a potential patron. As the ladies head back into the school, Sidhay is waiting, and she doesn't look happy.
Sidhay looks broken, and she requests a private conversation with Captain Niall. Sophronia, Dimity, and Agatha head to their next lesson with Lady Lynette, where the teacher wants to have a word about the unsanctioned gadget Sophronia used earlier, her Hurley. With the Hurley quickly and safely stashed in Dimity's reticule, Sophronia declares it lost during her rescue. Whoops. Lady Lynette wonders if they're training her too well and questions her possibility of patron. Sophronia says she would like to work for herself. To the class, Lady Lynette declares that the girls are ready to learn about the fine art of seduction.
Ooh.
And everyone's attention is captured. Today, they shall master the look. Which is perfect timing because Sophronia's eldest brother has gotten himself engaged and their parents are throwing a ball, providing the perfect opportunity to try the look out on Lord Mercy. Oh.
Sidhay hasn't returned by the time they finish lessons, and the teachers don't know that she is gone. Sophronia, Dimity, and Agatha try to cover for their friend, but they can only do so for so long. They don't know what upsets Sidhay to surmise it must be something to do with her grandfather, though. Could he have been challenged and lost his position as Alpha? After Lady Lynette has made her rounds, checking if the young ladies are asleep, Sophronia sneaks out to the boiler room. She wants to see if Soap heard anything about the pigeon.
Soap doesn't have much information for Sophronia, though he knows there is unsettlement with the Kingair pack. No one seems to have died. However, Lord Macon is losing control. Soap thinks Sidhay has gone to London, as rumor is Lord Macon was seen headed there. During their conversation, Soap admits he would go Claviger, a servant to werewolves that may earn the possibility to become one himself, which surprises Sophronia, and her rage against it startles Soap. Then they talk about her brother's ball, and Soap is jealous that Felix, Lord Mercy, will be going and dancing with her. Sophronia pines for the relaxed way things used to be and decides that growing up sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
A fortnight passes with no word from Sidhay or Captain Niall. Everyone is moody and sullen. Not even the prospect of a ball and her birthday brightens Dimity's mood. Sophronia doesn't visit the boiler room either because she doesn't want to encourage Soap. Eventually, the dirigible arrives at Swiftlawn-X, taking on water before mooring outside the town. Professor Braithwaite's eccentricities have escalated, and he is taken to shaving off his grand moustache, which grows back straight away. Today, however, he has only shaved off half before getting distracted. Sophronia cannot look away from the half moustache. It's fascinating. Sophronia and Dimity have been excused from his lesson as they need to rest before their early start to the Temenic residence. As they are chatting in bed, someone knocks at their parlour door. It's Soap. He wants to make sure he didn't scare Sophronia off and again expresses his displeasure at Felix. Soap obviously wants more from their relationship, but Sophronia wants to keep him in the friend zone. Does she, though?
No, she doesn't. Not even a little bit.
Give Soap the look.
Joining Sophronia and Dimity in the cart to the Temenic home is Dimity's brother, Pillover. I love Pillover. Who has been roped in as Dimity's escort to the ball, which is embarrassing but necessary. And Felix.
Ooh.
Roger, their driver, has someone joining him up front, but the stranger keeps their head down and says nothing. Sophronia and Felix discuss mechanical transport, and Sophronia practices her flirting on Felix, which works a treat. Oh, eyelash fluttering, hands near bosoms. Oh, the look.
Blue steel.
When the conversation turns to Pickleman, Felix gives very little away, though Sophronia's curiosity is obvious.
The group arrives early that evening and finds the house a hubbub of activity with extra mechanicals borrowed from the neighbours zipping about. The ball is a masquerade and Dimity dons her Queen of the Mechanicals costume as Sophronia is attacked by her sisters wielding curling irons. For her own costume, Sophronia begged an old dress from Sister Mattie, and she and her friends tailored it, covering it with pockets to be filled with useful items and making her look like a sooty. Pillover knocks, grumbles something to Dimity, and disappears. And while the rest of the room are discussing Pillover's broodiness and his obvious broken heart only they can mend, Dimity lets Sophronia know Pillover needs to speak to her in the gazebo. Dimity provides a distraction for Sophronia to slip out.
I love the distraction. It's just Bumbersnoot like waddling around underneath piles of stuff.
Bumbersnoot is so helpful.
Bumbersnoot is the best. He's the best. Pillover has a message from Lady Kingair through Viev. Her pack is in disgrace as they were caught planning to murder Queen Victoria behind her grandfather's back. Lord Macon has killed his beta and abandoned them, intending to challenge for the London pack, so Side is headed to London to send him back to Kingair. Before Sophronia and Pillover can leave, Mrs. Temenic catches them alone together and demands Pillover make an honest woman of Sophronia. Dimity would love to have Sophronia as her sister and advises supplying her brother with bacon and books so she can run the empire as the Queen's intelligencer without interruption. It's a really good plan.
It is. It would work out well for everyone.
I know. Pillover, he would be fine with it. He would be fine. He's a husband in name only. Sophronia finds the situation hilarious, as do we, and shamelessly flirts with poor awkward Pillover during the ball.
As would we.
As would we.
During their dance, Sophronia tells Felix about being caught with Pillover, and he offers to walk through the gardens with her too. Wink. As with every dance they have ever attempted, they are interrupted. And this time, a mysterious dandy cuts in. Was it you? Was it you? No! It's Soap. He was Roger's friend in the cart.
Mm.
Soap has also heard whispers of her engagement with Pillover, and looking over to the poor lad, it is difficult to believe, as he is being accosted by a glutton, a deluge, a plague of young ladies. Felix, not happy about the interruption, squares off with Soap. In the meantime, poor Pillover has made his way over to beg for help to escape the bevy, the gaggle, the monstrosity of young ladies. To add to the oncoming chaos of the evening, Sid here enters the ball wearing a very plain dress and no mask, with two werewolves, one of which is wearing a jaunty top hat. I love this entire scene.
I know, me too. I love it so much. I especially love Soap and his like haughty accent that he puts on. And nobody knows it's him because his face is fully covered by a mask and he's wearing like a powdered wig and really tight pants.
Oh, very tight. They will
No.
make a comeback.
Oh, I love him. Oh, I love him so much. Demonstrating excellent hostess skills, Sophronia introduces Lady Kingair, daughter of an earl, to her mother, gives some nonsense about Sithay's masquerade costume, and ushers them, plus Dimity, into the family parlor before sending the wolves to find some of her brother's old clothes. Meanwhile, Sithay tells her friends she begged her grandfather to go home and forgive the others, but he's alpha of the Woolsey pack now and lost to her because she has chosen her pack over her grandfather. Then the wolves, now in human form, enter.
As expected, one is Captain Nile and the other is the Duan, the Queen's werewolf advisor. Captain Nile comforts Sid here, and it's plain to see there has been a shift in their relationship. Sid here introduces Lord Slaughter, the Duan, who states he is satisfied with the change in Alpha for the London pack and reminds Sid here that she is not, in fact, a werewolf, and therefore it is none of her business. He understands why Lord Macon has done what he has and sees it as necessary. Sid here then confesses she asked her grandfather to give her the bite, but was refused, which is understandable as there have only ever been 3 female werewolves in history. The werewolves brought Sid here to Sophronia with the intention that they take her back to school with them, and have provided a note for Lady Lynette to explain her absence. Captain Nile and the Duan are to carry on to Scotland.
After the wolves take their leave, the boys enter the parlor. Soap is concerned about his friend Sithay. Pilliver sits on the floor, playing with Bumbersnoot, and Felix stays on the fringes, not part of their circle. Dimity relays the tale, minus the fact that one of the wolves was the Dewan. Sithay then asks for Sophronia's help to get her to Kingair because she needs to be with her pack and is convinced she can hold them together. The fastest means would be by train. In fact, she would beat Captain Nile and the Dewan there, as the following night is a full moon night. Sophronia hatches a plan involving boys' clothes, a picnic, a distraction, and the air dinghy currently hiding in the rafters of the conservatory. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door. Mrs. Barnacle Goose crashes in with an item to deliver to Sophronia, though it really is beneath her skill level to do so. Thanking the undercover intelligencer, Sophronia stashes the package inside Bumbersnoot before they set off to escape the ball for Scotland.
At midnight, the speeches are about to start. The mechanicals go completely unhinged. It's a feast of mad pirouetting before the mechanicals go still. Then, as one, they start to sing before finally dying. The humans go completely unhinged as well. Who will refill the champagne? Who will turn down their beds? Who will stoke the nighttime fires? Who will make the tea? This wasn't Sophronia's plan, but she takes advantage of it. As the air dinghy doesn't have a propeller, they catch a breeze and float to the train station where, in a stroke of good luck, a train is waiting for them. This peculiar though. It's first class passenger trains and two freight trains which are crammed together. That's odd.
That's a weird train.
It's a very weird train.
Working together, Sidhay lassos the carriage and Sophronia uses her hurley to catch the train. As one, Sophronia, Dimity, Sidhay, Soap, and Felix pull the dinghy down to land on top of the train, lash it down, and deflate the balloons. Climbing into the first-class carriage below, the group finds it empty. The ladies take the opportunity to change into their boy disguises, but poor Dimity looks silly, and not even a smudge of ash mustache can disguise her femininity. Poor Dimity.
Oh.
Meanwhile, Bumbersnoot poops out Sophronia's package. It's a gift from her vampire, a bladed fan.
Yes.
How did he know?
How did he know?
I love how he knows, but it's a secret. It's a secret. Felix is jealous she's receiving gifts from a man of means in London, and Soap seems withdrawn, which makes Sophronia sad. She doesn't want to hold him back, even if it is so he can go for Claviger.
Later, Sophronia is on the train roof fetching her hurley and goes for an explore of the train. She finds a carriage that looks more like a shed, and inside is a very well-dressed gentleman. Too well-dressed, which makes Sophronia think he may be a drone. He is sitting, snoring, next to what looks like a communication machine with a crystalline valve, but larger than the one on top of Bunsen's school. As the train stops at a junction switch, Sophronia watches to see what happens, and hears a very familiar, bossy female voice. Oh no.
Oh no.
Back with the others, Sophronia tells them that Monique is aboard. Then Sophronia and Felix argue about vampires. Felix's bigotry is showing hard.
Ugh.
Soap interrupts them to share that the clouds have cleared to reveal a dirigible. Is it an escort? Are they following it? Or could this just be a complete coincidence? There's nothing to be done about it, so they decide to rest, taking turns on watch until they arrive at Oxford shortly after breakfast.
Monique steps out onto the platform with the mail drone. Together they sit, take tea, and read the newspaper on the platform. Soap ducks out to disguise himself as a sweeper to listen in on their conversation. Giving his friends a jaunty smile and drinking the rest of Monique's tea, Soap pilfers a newspaper and heads back inside the carriage with nothing much to report, unfortunately. The two were arguing about range, but nothing specific. The drone asked Soap about mechanicals in Oxford, but he gave him a sassy, non-committal response. There isn't much in the paper either, though Felix spots a small article about a minor mechanical malfunction, and Dimity sees another. Sophronia supposes that the train is responsible, and they were running a test. Soon, the train continues on its journey.
Bored and desperate in need of tea, Sophronia declares it's time they stole the train. They can't trust Monique to get them to Scotland when she doesn't know that's their destination, so naturally they have to commandeer the train.
Naturally.
What
else?
Of
What else are you going to do?
We need a train heist. Yes. They use Dimity's masquerade costume to disguise the train as a jaunty circus before Dimity and Felix head off to the shed to steal the crystalline valve, which Dimity will hide in Bumbersnoot.
Bumbersnoot is such a good place to hide things.
Bumbersnoot is the MVP of this entire series.
He really is. Meanwhile, Sophronia, Sidhay, and Soap head to the engine, where Monique is. Monique goes for Soap, while Sophronia excuses the engineer, and the stoker surrenders to Sidhay, who recruits him. Sophronia steps into Soap's battle with Monique, and using her bladed fan, realizes that she's a better fighter than Monique. She's pretty much better in every way than Monique is, though.
100%.
I mean, really. Once subdued, the decision whether to toss or keep her must be made. Ugh. They need to keep her because she may prove useful. So Sophronia binds her hands and leaves her to dangle from the doorway. Outside, the dirigible starts to sink down and lands on the tracks in front of them. Flywomen!
Ooh. Soap slams the brakes on. Sophronia and Sidhe go out to meet the flywomen, with Dimity and Felix following behind. Dimity informs Sophronia that the drone was dumped off the train a while back, so it won't be a problem. But he was monitoring messages and noting them on a map, not sending messages. For 3 days, the flywomen have watched the train following them, and now they want to borrow it. Sophronia plays up that they are Bunsen's boys who took the train for a lark. See, they have Lord Mercy and Lord King Air with them. We're just out for some fun.
Yeah, it's fine.
This doesn't stop the flywomen from pulling out weapons, so Sophronia and her band of merry boys pretend they have to So Sophronia and her band of merry boys pretend they have people backing them up too. The flywomen question Felix's identity, and during the exchange, both sides become frustrated and agitated, to the point that Felix is shot.
Ugh. Ooh. Cursing as he drops to the ground, the bullet graze doesn't stop Felix from flirting mercilessly with Sophronia. And of course, behind them, Dimity faints from the blood. From the Flywomen dirigible trots out a man wearing a top hat with a green band. A pickleman. He also happens to be Felix's father, Duke Goulburn. He's holding a sundowner weapon, a weapon able to kill a vampire on one end and a werewolf on the other. The Pickleman dirigible was sending the signals, making the mechanicals mess up, and they picked the Temenic ball because they knew Felix was going and would unknowingly give a full report to his father. That is some serious scheming.
God, yes.
Dimity finally comes around, and Sophronia gives her instructions to get to the train and go full pelt at the dirigible because they need to get out of there. Unfortunately, the Duke stops her. While Sidhe and Dimity cause a distraction, Sophronia stuffs her Hurley into Bumbersnoot, again, excellent hiding place, and gives him instructions to get to Soap. After a few moments, the locomotive starts to crank to life.
The train starts moving forward, so the flywomen, Duke Goulburn and Felix, race toward the dirigible before it is smashed, and the girls leap back onto the train, waving to the Duke as they go by. The airship hasn't risen enough though, and the train hits the bottom, causing valves to fly everywhere from a crack in the hull. Monique points out that the Picklemen have been planning this scheme for a long time. The new valves are being placed in mechanicals when they are being serviced, which will mean they will soon have a mechanical army at their disposal, which is bad because only supernaturals don't use mechanicals.
Ooh.
There has been no overt action against the Picklemen because there are too many of them in too high places.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nighttime falls and they need to rest, so they pull into a small country station. As well as food stocks running low, Dusty, the stoker, points out that the coal reserves need restocking. And it may or may not be because Bumbersnoot has been eating all of the coal in the reserve. During the night, Soap and Sophronia take watch, and Sophronia and Monique verbally battle, mostly about Soap being beneath Sophronia. Eventually, Sophronia gags Monique instead of enacting any of the many ways to kill a person she has been taught. She should have done it. Monique has hit a nerve, and Sophronia now feels awkward with Soap. In the morning, they carry on their journey and elect to push Monique out of the moving train and into a very dirty duck pond.
Yay!
Yay, finally! Not long after, Dimity spots a dirigible on the horizon. Could it be the Picklemen again? Sophronia and Sidhe start to help Dusty stoke the engine. They want to build their speed to try and outrun the airship, But by sunset, the coal tender is empty, and they haven't lost the dirigible. Instead, the train is now in range of the dirigible's cannon.
Ooh.
No!
The cannon fire has hit the train, knocking one of the carriages loose. Sophronia climbs the roof and runs to the back of the train. However, she doesn't have the brute strength needed to force the carriages to separate. Deciding she needs help, Sophronia heads back to the engine for Soap while the picklemen fire the cannon again. Soap, with a little help of another hit from the cannon, manages to free the dragging carriage. From the dirigible, the Duke pulls a gun and points it at Soap and tells Sophronia to stop the train. Sophronia tells Soap that if the 4 people on the train separate, the one airship can't follow them all.
Ooh.
Because that's math.
That is math. Putting on a show for the dirigible, Sophronia and Soap embrace like Shakespearean lovers who would be parted forever. Then Soap uses the hurley to swing them down to the ground, Sophronia cutting them free with her bladed fan. The dirigible doesn't follow the train. Instead, it starts to sink down. As the Duke disembarks, 2 werewolves appear, Captain Nile and the Dewan, who shift into human form. The Dewan, completely naked, lays into the pickleman, and Sophronia tries to be helpful and tell the Dewan what has been going on, and that Side is aboard the train. No one, however, can provide any evidence to their story, and no mention has been made of the pickleman's nefarious evil plans. Suddenly, there is a scuffle on the dirigible. Felix is trying to get free and shouts something, but is muffled before it can be made out. Then, over a hill, Side, Dimity, and Dusty come marching, carrying weapons, and Bumpersnoot.
The Duke starts to back towards the dirigible and shouts, "Now!" ordering a volley of gunfire towards Sophronia and Soap. As Duke Goldborn tumbles back inside the ship, displaying his yellow hose, the Dewan charges for the dirigible, which has started to lift, but in human form he can't reach them. Captain Nile covers Sophronia from the gunfire and takes a bullet, which he will luckily recover from. Suddenly, Sophronia realizes Soap has been shot in the chest and is losing a lot of blood. She hears a scream and realizes it's coming from her.
Oh, no.
Crying, she forbids Soap from dying. But really, nothing can be done.
No. Dimity doesn't faint, despite the copious amounts of blood Soap has lost, because it's too serious. The Dewan comments that thankfully it wasn't someone important, which makes Sophronia turn on him, and she orders him to bite Soap. The Dewan protests, but she challenges his superior alphahood and also promises that when she is finished, she will indenture herself to his service to pay him back. Captain Nile says she's one of the best Mademoiselle Geraldine's Finishing Academy for Young Ladies of Quality has ever produced, but the tipping point being that Lord Akeldama is already courting her. The Dewan agrees.
The Dewan successfully metamorphoses Soap. Sophronia sits stroking Soap in his new wolf form while watching his wounds heal. The Dewan will need to take him because Soap is his responsibility now, and he must ensure he adjusts to being a werewolf. It might take a while though, and in the meantime, his metamorphosis must be kept a secret. He also tells Sophronia he will not hold her to their bargain. A new werewolf is rare and gift enough, but she wants to.
Captain Nile will continue on to Scotland and will take over as Alpha of Kingair, but the pack is being shipped out to India as exile for their punishment for trying to kill the Queen. Though Captain Nile isn't a true Alpha, he is the Dewan's best option in England. Captain Nile will take the train to Scotland and hide the transmitter at Kingair. Sophronia points out that he will need Side with him to drive the train. The Duan then declares that Sithe and Captain Niall will be married after a long engagement. His marriage to Lady Kingair will help cement his position as alpha. In time, Captain Niall hopes to earn Sidhe's affection, though no one doubts that will be a problem. At all.
Nope.
Ever.
Nope.
So, while Sidhe will head overseas with her family, Sophronia and Dimity will go back to Mademoiselle Geraldine's finishing academy for young ladies of quality. First class, with appropriate clothing, says the naked Duan. As they prepare to part, Sophronia and Dimity needle Sithe about Captain Niall as only friends can. How will Sophronia take down all the picklemen in England without Sithe? Well, Bumbersnoot will help. Oh, man.
It's so good.
So good. So good. This is my favorite one.
I love a train heist.
Yeah.
Right, my darling Dandy Amanda, we shall go to the ball whilst everybody listens to this other podcast promotion.
Oh, yes, indeed.
I do declare. Is that soap over there? The masquerade?
God, I wish. I love soap so much.
Oh, Felix, I won't dance with you. We'll never finish it. Goodbye, boy. So, apart from loving, page 1 to page the end, standout moments.
Okay. I have to let everyone in on a little secret.
Ooh.
The first time I read this book, which was years ago when it came out, because I was reading these as they were published, I almost had an emotion.
Whoa.
When Soap got shot.
Whoa.
I know. I almost had an emotion. I remember I was working at one of the libraries that I worked at in South Florida, and I was like cleaning out a closet or something, rearranging puppets or something ridiculous, which is probably what I was doing. And I was listening.
Means playing. She was playing with the puppets.
Yeah, I was 100% playing with puppets. But I was listening to the audiobook, and another one of my coworkers was also reading this, and I walked out of this closet and I was like, how far have you made it in the book? And she was like, nowhere near anything like what you're doing should be happening. Like, oh my God, you have to read it faster.
Wow.
And then I had to wait for the last one to come out. So I was left with my soap dangling. Although he is transformed and metamorphosed and he's fine. But still.
You know he's fine. You know he's metamorphosed as a werewolf, but you don't know if you're going to meet him again. That's the main thing. Like,
oh, I know.
The Duan needs to take him. In theory, a werewolf needs to do their military service for the Queen. So, in theory, he could have been sent to India with the King Air Pack at the same time, and we would never have seen Soap again in the finishing school series. So, yeah, you're left with dangling Soap. No, I agree. The first time I heard it, I was listening to it, and like, literally went. I was screaming, fighting to the point where like my husband came in and was like, "You all right?
What's going on?"
No words. It's just panic noises.
Yeah. Oh, it's so stressful.
Yes. Thankfully, though, Miss Gill doesn't leave you hanging so much that you're like frustrated with it.
Right. And all of her books are so happy. Like, she couldn't have physically destroyed us without something coming from it.
Considering the love people have for Soap and the demands there are for Soap to have his own series of books, imagine if she had killed him off.
That would have been a mistake.
There would have been riots in the streets. There would have been petitions online. It, no, no.
I can't imagine a world without soap in it.
Everybody needs Soap.
Everybody needs soap. So, other than soap and me having an emotion, which is a big deal, it's a big deal, TM. I really liked this ball. I mean, they go to balls all the time, but I really, really liked this one. I would love to go to a masquerade ball.
Oh,
I would love
yes.
it.
Yes.
And I love that Sophronia dressed up like a city. And then Soap was there.
And instantly knew she was a sooty.
Yes.
I
It
mean,
was
come on,
so
Sophronia.
precious.
Your friend's owning Soap, but you're dressing up as a sooty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got no romantic feelings whatsoever. You don't keep
No.
smelling him or feeling his arms.
Staring at his muscles.
You do not smell somebody the way she smells Soap without having an attraction.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
I love him. I love him so much. I think Soap might be one of my most favorite book characters of all time. I
Yeah,
might like
I'm with you.
Soap more than I like Adrian.
Oh,
And
I definitely
everybody
like
knows how
Soap.
much I love Adrian.
I love Soap more than I love Adrian. But everybody knows how.
You don't like Adrian.
Hey, I'm still on that hill with you defending it.
Yeah. Where's my straw?
How about I like Soap more than like Dimitri?
Yeah, that's fine with me. That doughy motherfucker.
Not in the TV series.
It's spoiler alert. It's Adrian who's the doughy motherfucker in the TV.
Is it a Vampire Academy if it doesn't have a doughy
It
motherfucker
has
in
to
it
have at
somewhere?
least one doughy motherfucker, but we are getting way off track here.
Oh,
We
completely. Because
we need to get our
Soap
train
is
back on
not
the track.
dewy.
No,
Pillover might. I don't even think Pillover's dewy. Going by the
no,
way that the
no.
swooning ladies who were determined to mend his broken heart.
Yeah, now that he's gotten a little bit older, I think he might have lost his baby fat.
Baby
He's
fat is gone. He's shot up inches. He's
Yep,
got a dark brooding. He's emanating ennui.
he is.
He's full emo, really.
He
He's a
really
nerdy
is.
emo,
You
and the
know,
girls are just lapping it up.
if he had joined the Pistons and was wearing eyeliner,
Oh my
he would be
god,
100% like
that's
everyone would be swooning all over the place for him.
that is if he did that, he would be impregnating people with looks.
He would be. He really, really would be.
It. Do you know how we've read the Lightfully Deadly series, the three spin-offs from this?
Yes.
Are you kind of getting in? I haven't read this series since I've read the short stories. And now when I'm reading this, I'm getting this new appreciation for the characters and their younger selves. And it's knowing what happens with Pillover and just his integrity.
Yeah,
It kind of makes him hotter.
it really does.
I'm not saying he's hot in this because he's like,
A
a
child.
minor. He's
Yeah.
a child.
Yeah.
But, if it was 16-year-old Claire, she can appreciate 16-year-old Claire can appreciate that.
Yes, definitely.
Claire is like, okay, I
All
can
right.
see what man he's going to turn into.
Yeah. Especially that when they get on the carriage to go to Sophronia's house, he's like, so, Agatha's coming? Is that Agatha gonna be there? They're like, no, she's not.
Oh.
Agatha? No.
She might be behind the plant pot.
She is. She was there the whole time.
Oh, God, I love this series.
I
So the
know.
masquerade ball. Let's talk about that a bit because I loved the masquerade, like the ball
Yes.
scene. I love the prelude when Pillover and Sophronia get engaged.
Yes. And Sophronia's like, Mother, no. He is my best friend's younger brother. We are just out here having a chat. No. And she's like,
He's a
oh no.
child.
Oh no. Your delicate sensibilities.
You shall be married soon once we do the appropriate checks to your background. You come from a good family. You come to my house. You eat my Christmas dinner. You had the figgy pudding, and now you shall have my child.
And then Pillover's like, Agatha? But Agatha?
But Agatha? But maybe being engaged will make me less attractive to the young fillies.
Nope.
No, it
Wrong.
makes you more.
You're wrong.
So wrong. So very wrong. I love the way he was just terrified of all the young ladies.
Oh, I know.
They're like swooning after him.
Oh,
He's
I
like,
know.
please, help, help. And then the square off between Soap and Felix. So this is before Felix even realizes it's Soap. He's like, listen, mate, you've got knee chance. Felix is gonna win. He always does. He's a git. He's connected. It's gonna happen. You're probably a no one. I'm sorry. Now, will you please save me from all the young girls? Oh, I love it. I love it. So much fun. And then, of course, Felix and Sophronia's dance gets interrupted again.
Of course.
When is he going to get the idea? Just don't dance with her because it's
just
not going to
don't.
end well.
Stop
or
wasting
end.
your time.
Yeah. Did you find Felix a little annoying in this one?
I did. Like, what happened with him? Because he was so swoony in the first couple of books, but now it's just like, ugh, come
I think his
on.
racism was showing.
Oh, it really is.
Like,
He's
you
just
couldn't
disgusting
say
in this.
vampire or werewolf without his bigotry coming out.
Yeah, it was awful.
It's like, why did you go along in the first place to help Sid here get to her werewolf pack?
Yeah.
You should have stayed at the ball.
I know that throughout this book, Sophronia is really like waffling, trying like she's like, oh, but he's so dreamy, he's so handsome, his eyes are so beautiful. But then she's like, but he's kind of a douchebag. I mean, she doesn't say douchebag, obviously. Like,
she wants to change him.
Yeah, she wants to. Like, what can I do? How can I make him realize that he's wrong? I have to change him. But like, you can't. You cannot change someone who's like that, no matter how hard you try.
He will change through life experience.
Right.
You
lecture. Can't force that change. He has to realize that on his own and become a better person.
It's a tough love situation.
It is.
Yeah. And I feel really sorry for Sophronia because she knows Felix is the quote unquote correct option for her, giving class and, separation and
Ugh.
But it's not where her heart is.
No. Her heart needs soap.
Her heart needs soap. But Soap at least understands that if he were to get Claviger, and he were to successfully metamorphosis, then as a werewolf, his skin color, his low station birth, his working class background means nothing.
Yep, it doesn't matter anymore. And I love that while Sophronia is like trying to change Felix, Soap's trying to change himself. And that just goes to show like how much better of a person he is.
I don't even think it's like change per se. It's develop and learn and become a more worldly and well-rounded person. And it's education rather than yeah, fundamentals.
Right. I was just using change because he's changing into a werewolf.
Yeah,
You know. But
physically
yeah,
changing.
he doesn't
Gets
want to
hairier.
like, yeah. I'm like
Mm.
he's trying to become better. And he knows that where he is right now in his life, like he's not satisfied with that. He knows that
No.
he knows that he can do better. He knows that he can be better. And so he tries. He wants to. He wants to be better. Even though he's perfect in every way, but you know. I just appreciate that Felix is just such a twat. And Soap, like Soap is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I just Felix for me, like you know when he got shot and yeah, it was just a surface graze on his leg.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm shot. Oh, hello, Severity. Would you like to tend my wounds?" It's
Oh,
like,
kiss it and
can
make it
you
better. Like, ugh, fuck off.
can you not for like 2 minutes be such a lecherous flirt? Just stop.
Mm.
Let's read the room.
Yeah.
Let's assess the situation and go from there. You're not in a parlor right now. You're not at a ball right now. You've been shot. You're in the countryside. Your father is over there. You're on some freaking train tracks after stealing a train and you're flirting. No, stop it. It was just so annoying. And I completely think that if when Felix grows up, he is going to just be toxic.
He is.
Every port is just going to have toxic behavior and toxic masculinity just pouring out. And I just,
Yeah.
oh, boys will be boys.
No. Mm-mm.
No, no, no.
No. I'm glad
Just,
he got shot.
so am I. I just wish she was a bit more perfect and a bit more of a painful area.
Yeah. Ugh.
I'm sure as hell don't think Sophronia would have indentured herself to the Dwan to save his life.
No,
And
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think Felix would. Well, Felix wouldn't have wanted a metamorphosis, but I don't think he could
Right.
metamorphose.
No, I don't think he's got the soul for that.
No, not at all.
No.
Do
Ugh.
you find it weird that they use a pigeon as like their gasp?
Pigeon.
Serious news outlet. Like it's freaking
Well,
pigeon.
I mean, it's a homing pigeon. Those guys are trained. They know what's up.
Oh, they are. They're very well trained. I used to work with somebody whose son kept homing pigeons. He used to race them and everything. But it's a freaking pigeon, like a diameters.
How else would they have gotten the message?
I don't know. It's pigeon, and I don't know if it's the British in me. Just thinks it's a pigeon. You can go down anywhere in this country and just be surrounded by those little rats with wings cooing. I don't. You know my feelings on birds.
I do.
I
I
do not
do.
like pigeons.
And that is what I was going to say. I was going to say, I think that you're letting your distrust of birds taint your opinion on their messaging system here a little bit.
And I am donned in peacock feathers today because,
You are. Well, it's because probably those birds are far, far away from you. You've just burgled their feathers. They might not
I
even be real peacock feathers. It
it
could be
might not
faux.
be. I burgled them from a place called Etsy.
Mm, nice.
Yeah, but I can hope they're not alive. Sorry to any animal lovers. I probably don't mean that.
She actually probably does, but it's just
Freaking
because
hate
she
them.
really mistrusts birds.
I like penguins. I like owls. Birds of prey. Freaking hate peacocks.
I'm sorry.
So,
I'm sorry. Anyway.
anyway, I will say one of my favorite scenes was Sid here throwing nibbly bits of pressure. just
Yeah.
it just decked me. I was like giggling away. And Monique being pushed into a very dirty duck pond.
Yes, that was also very good. Didn't Sid Hay Did she actually throw rolls at Sophronia when Sophronia was dangling and they were like, "Well, it's time for tea and we have to leave you out here at the very, very beginning of the story on the pilot's bubble." Did she actually throw her food or did she just say she was going to throw her food?
I think she threw at least a roll.
Yeah. So
Like
Sid
she
Hay's
just
all about throwing food in this one.
yeah. She's just left, right, and centre. There's just little nibbly bits going all over the place. Like, people are taking sausage rolls to the eye, cucumber sandwiches to the bums. It's just crazy nibbler bits everywhere,
Yeah.
and just it killed me. I really thought it was funny. I did sort of miss the teachers a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, at least we got a good chunk of Professor Braithwaite.
Oh, poor Professor Braithwaite.
I know. That was something else that I almost had an emotion about, but that was the last book. When he fell and his tether snapped, like he was my favorite. He was my favorite professor, and now he's not right. He's not right in the
He's
head.
half a moustache.
And the fact that it keeps growing back is hilarious.
You know the home in The Simpsons when Homer Simpson shaves his beard and then poof, it just grows back straight away.
Yes.
That's instantly what comes to my mind.
Yep. Yep. That's what happens with Professor Braithwaite.
Definitely, definitely. Were there any standout moments for you?
Mm, no, I can't say so. I mean, it's so hard to choose favorite bits, favorite things about these books because we love them so dearly. But no, I think we've covered everything that I really, really loved. I guess no, I really did enjoy Sophronia coming to love the bladed fan. I
Yes.
liked that fight scene. That was pretty great, especially because she was just watching Prussia while Prussia comes at her like nonstop. And then when Prussia takes the cover off the blades and like actually cuts her, what are you thinking, Prussia? Poison is your weapon. Why are you so excited about this fan? But I appreciate that Sophronia watched her, saw everything that she was doing, like learned everything about how to win this fight with her, and then she just flicks perfume in her eyes and pushes her into a stream.
Love it.
It was really
But
great.
that just harkens back to some of other Captain Niall's lessons about distraction and using the tools around you,
Yeah.
including the landscape.
Yes. And it was, some dirty fighting that she learned from Soap, flinging stuff into your opponent's eyeballs. But it worked out in the end. It was fine.
Exactly. Who came out the victor of that?
I know. Not
No,
Prussia. And her
no.
it was really fantastic that both Prussia and Monique ended up in dirty water.
Oh, it's poetic. It's poetic. Ooh, I'll tell you what we haven't talked about.
What?
The Pickleman conspiracy with the mechanicals.
Yes.
That's obviously going to play out
Yes,
as the
it
big
really
finale next
yes.
in the final book?
I really like that in the first book, the prototype is just like this throwaway thing, and you think, "Oh, what's even going on with this prototype? What is this?" And now, look how important it is. And it showed up a little bit in book 2, and we learned
Mm.
that, like, that's how they're sharing messages. And now, look at what this prototype, which is, the crystalline valve, is actually in production now. And this is what it can do. This is serious stuff. But it just started out from one little throwaway line, really. One just like tiny little nothing. Oh, it's just this thing that Monique has. And now look how important it is.
Yeah. But that's obviously why Gail Carrick is such a good storyteller, because she drips feeds these little tidbits and these little things.
Yes.
Like Pillover asking about Agatha.
Yeah, Agatha?
And the
Agatha?
air dinghy that is built into the Temminix Conservatory from book 1
Yes.
now being very important in book 3.
Yeah, everything's coming back into play.
Yes,
It's
very
fantastic.
crafty,
She's
very
such
good.
she's such a good storyteller.
Oh, completely. And it's a slow burn build up to this big, oh my God, actually, there's a massive conspiracy going on.
Yeah.
And it
And
grows as Sophronia and friends grow
yes.
and able to tackle it, which is just, whoa.
Yeah. And I really enjoy that, they get on the train and they see that Monique is here. And they're like, "Oh God, it's the vampires. The vampires are behind it all." And like, no, they're kind of trying to stop everything bad from happening. It's the
Yes.
picklemen that are the bad guys.
Pickle man.
Pickleman. Ah. It's just perfect. It's perfect storytelling
Yes, on a train heist.
on a train
I love
heist.
it. I love it. The Arkham Horror card game, the LCG. My favorite um storyline was a train heist.
Nice.
It was so much fun. I absolutely adore a train heist. It's such a simple concept. Like, you're stealing your train, but the way it can be done, the cleverness behind it, I love it. I love it. It's just so much fun.
That really ties well into our first would you rather question.
Hmm. First though, I think it's safe to say favorite characters, Soap.
Yeah, without question. Everyone should know that by now. If it's
Yes, and
not
but
Snope, if it's Snope, if it's not Soap, it's Bumbersnoot,
I
and
was gonna say,
it's
well,
Soap.
Bumblebee's just the MVP of the entire
Right.
series.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
were there any surprises?
Mm, I'm honestly just surprised they didn't dump Monique much sooner than they did.
Yeah,
But I am
and
glad that they tossed her off the train.
oh God, yes. Dusty not realizing that the girls, especially Dimity. I mean, come on, Dusty. You might just be an engine stalker, but come on, it's Dimity.
Look, he's just really open-minded. He's fine with it. He's fine.
He's keeping his head down, shoveling coal, trying to shovel the
He
coal before
is. Like,
Bumblesuit can eat it.
yes.
Okay.
Fine.
Should one do the would you rather's now, sir?
One should do the would you rathers now.
Bravo, bravo. Tis time. Tis time for
Pew!
would you rather.
Pew!
Pew,
Pew!
pew,
Pew!
pew. I'm not going to keep that voice up. I'll annoy everybody. We asked on social media, would you rather steal a train or steal a dirigible? On Facebook, it was 55% of stealing a dirigible. On Instagram, 80% are stealing a dirigible. On Twitter, 73% are stealing a dirigible. And on TikTok, 52% are stealing a train. We have your details. We will be letting the authorities know what you're stealing.
We will. We know everything about you.
We have lots of lovely comments, so
We
I'm just going to
do.
dive straight into them.
Excellent.
Colin on Facebook said, "Dirigible, dirigible, dirigible! Then I can live out all my sky pirate fantasies, which are many and varied and almost always end in impressive and swoon-worthy sexy times. As Vince pointed out, dirigibles are very flammable, but so are trains. I mean, who could ever forget that horrific scene? I believe it was the 82nd Harry Potter movie where the terrible turf and all her hideous creations burned alive on a trip to Hogwarts."
I haven't read that one yet, but seems
It's
reasonable.
on the internet, I think.
Oh, sorry, it's a movie. It's a movie. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
I think it's fan-made.
Annie on Facebook says, "Dirigible. I already have the Sky Pirate outfit.
Vigilante,
Vigilante with her pirate costume."
Vigilante's gonna be a sky pirate. Bree on Facebook says, "I'm gonna say a train because I'm boring and terrified of heights." That's not boring, Bree. That's sensible and living
Smart.
to your strength.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Constance on Facebook says, "If you steal a train, it's only a matter of time that you'll get caught. It's on a track, but with the dirigible, the sky's the limit." It's perfect. It's a perfect comment. Perfect comment, Constance.
Drew on Facebook said, "Train for me. I can't be dealing with heights as well." See, people being sensible. I like it.
Yes, yes, indeed. Vince on Facebook, this is the comment that Colin was referring to, said, "We all know dirigibles are highly flammable."
Yes, yes, they are. Eric Fenn on Instagram said, "A dirigible, hands down. They look cool for one thing, and like, is it really stealing a train if it's still on the tracks? For legal reasons, yes, yes, it is."
Yes, it is. Real Jackson Ford on Instagram said, "Dirigible. Who wouldn't want to ride a dirigible?"
People afraid of heights.
Yeah.
See above comments.
See above.
And finally, L20 Kev on Instagram said, "Steal a train just after I steal a DeLorean. Then I'll recreate the ending of Back to the Future 3. Also, I'm scared of heights, so I'll never go in a balloon." Love the pop culture reference. Thanks,
Yes.
Kev.
Yes, we do love a good Back to the Future reference. L20 Kev really, he really knows us.
He does. I love Back to the Future.
Me too.
What are we doing though?
I don't want to go in a balloon. I don't. So I guess I'm stealing a train because that just scares me. The balloon scares me.
The train is classic.
It is. And you can carry more people, you can carry more goods. So, if you're stealing a lot of things, you can transport them easily. I just feel like it will be tough in a dirigible. There's a weight balance, you know?
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
also feel like if you steal the train, you can then recreate Murder on the Orient Express.
You could. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going with train. It's classic. Also, the idea of falling from the dirigible whilst trying to steal it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not into that. So yeah, let's steal a
No.
train together.
We'll be gentlemen thieves.
We will be, and
We
no
shall do
one
it with
will know
style and
that
aplomb.
we are ladies. Although I think they're going to struggle with you a little bit, only on account of the amount of bosom that you have.
Damn your boobs!
Damn you.
Available as a t-shirt on our Redbubble site.
Fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite fictional hangover themed merchandise. Very good.
We didn't even plan it. So
Never
natural.
do. We never
So
do.
natural.
All
Okay,
right.
next one.
Next question. Would you rather dance with Professor Braithwaite, Felix, or soap? And why is your answer soap?
Soap's strong arms and his smell so nice.
Mm. Mm.
And you can practice your look. and
You
soap.
can. Oh, so strong. So dreamy. If soap weren't involved,
Oh no!
I know. Even if it was on top of the pilot's bubble, on a plank, way up high in the high air, I'm choosing Professor Braithwaite over Felix because I don't like Felix anymore at all. And I mean, I would dance up on the rooftops, up in the most precarious of places with Professor Braithwaite. Because that's
Yes.
how much I dislike Felix now.
This also feels a little bit like an FMK question.
Yes. Yes, it does. But we don't need to bring that game back.
Well, let's just agree to kill Felix after we've stolen the train, and that will be our
Yes.
murder on the Orient Express.
Yes, perfect.
It all ties together.
Yeah.
I agree, though. Professor Braithwaite, leagues in the air, dancing the quadrille on a tiny plank, is preferable to Felix.
Yep. Yes, it is. Yes, he is.
Okay, next question. Would you rather be dumped in a duck pond or have nibbly bits thrown at you?
How much are the nibbly bits going to stain my beautiful dress?
Oh, there's beetroot.
Oh.
There may be a cheese pie.
Hmm. Can I eat any of it?
Yes.
If I can eat
If you
it,
catch it before it falls on the floor,
if
unless you declare the 5-second rule.
if I can eat it, I'm taking the nibbly bits.
Yeah. I don't trust duck ponds full of duck poo.
Could I just open my mouth
Yes.
and try to catch the nibbly bits?
Sorry, nibbly bits. Catched. Oh. But we're gentlemen dandy with fangs.
We
So the
are.
nibbly bit I'm throwing at you is a blood bag.
That's fine. Next question. Would you rather indenture with Lord Slaughter? Soap is a werewolf, and there is no end to your contract because you failed to negotiate terms, or indenture with Lord Akaldama for 20 years. Soap remains a human, and you have all the bladed fans an intelligencer could want.
You see, if it's Lord Akaldama, you're not becoming a drone.
Right.
You're still an intelligencer, so it's not as if you're going to go for the metamorphosis. Though he
Yes,
could apply for you.
he could.
But as we know, supernaturals in Britain, either werewolf or vampire, very rarely work out well for the female.
Yeah.
I feel like Lord Akaldama would be more fun to work with,
Yeah.
and I want the blade of fans,
All the fans.
but Soap doesn't get what he wants, which is the deciding factor as well. Oh, this is hard.
I know.
I'm possibly putting too much thought into this.
I think that you probably are.
I'm gonna go Lord Akaldama because vampire,
I
and
know.
it's
That's
only
the
for 20
answer.
years.
That's the only correct answer that there is.
If I was Sophronia, it would be Lord Slaughter, but I'm not Sophronia.
Right.
I'm Claire.
Right.
So, and I'm freaking dressed up as a freaking dandy vampire.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm gonna pick Lord Akaldama.
Of course.
Hello.
Hello, it's Lord Akaldama. I feel like you're safe with Lord Akaldama too. Like he's not gonna sleaze on you. He's
Oh
gonna
God,
buy
no.
you nice things. He's, gonna have lavish parties and I don't know. I just feel like he's the safest choice.
Knowing how he's treated other intelligences under his payroll, and when they've wanted to self-develop or they have personal objectives that they would like to meet,
Yeah.
he's listened. and
Yeah.
help them advance and change. And
Yeah.
he's helped their own personal growth.
Yeah.
He's met their wants and needs as well as them meeting his.
Yes.
I do think we don't know how harsh he would be if you fuck up. We've never met that side of Lord Akildama.
Well, because you won't fuck up around Lord Akildama. Because you know.
No, and I think he's probably got a wide enough and big enough network that if you needed to call in Goldenrod and his other agents, you could.
Yeah.
Plus, it's Lord Akildama. I mean, come
I
on,
know.
it's Lord Akildama.
I know. He's so good.
Okay, last question. Would you rather go back to Mademoiselle Geraldine's Finnish Academy for young ladies of quality and finish, or be exiled with the werewolf pack to India?
Now I'm going to Mademoiselle Geraldine's Finishing Academy for Young Ladies of Quality. Of course.
Yeah, I'm coming with you. We shall link arms in our finest garb and travel first class together.
We shall. We shall.
Let us dance a quadrille leagues above the land. But not on the plank or the pirate's boat. We'll do it
Right.
on the deck.
We'll do it on the deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Deal. It's a deal.
And then we shall sit in the parlour and plot and plan.
And have nibbly bits.
And have nibbly bits. While Bumper Snoot flitters about our feet.
Perfect. Perfect decision.
Oh.
Favorite final thought quote?
So many.
So many.
I wrote down so many.
There's lots of good ones.
I'm gonna have to go with this one just because I keep saying about it. You shouldn't
Okay.
go around being nasty when the rest of us are armed with nibbly bits. Ah, Sid here. If I could do a Scottish accent, I would do you justice. It was hard to be antagonistic over the comfort of food on a rainy day. Are you completely biscuit-minded? I think I might have been hungry when I was picking my favourite
I
quotes.
think you might have been.
Especially, that's tea for you, thought Sophronia, the great social lubricant. Tea solves everything. I could give you a million more, but I'm going to let you take over now.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. This was probably my favorite line from the audio, just because of the way it sounded. His fangs were extended, causing him to lisp slightly, and he punctuated his quadrille with a maniacal laugh that, if inscribed for posterity, might have been written as "mwahaha."
Yes.
That line of the audiobook was perfection.
There was an insult as well. I hope you've picked.
Have I? I think I picked a good one. I think I picked a good insult. Is it "you upstart poodle faker"?
Yes.
Yeah.
I honestly can hear you saying that to people.
Oh, that makes me happy. Let's see. What else do I have? What else did I choose? Oh, this other one. This is my last one. I only had 3 this time. It's Pilliver with all the ladies surrounding him. They chatter. They chatter worse than Dimity ever did. Oh, the chattering. The chattering. It haunts me. The chattering. I wanted to say it when you were talking about Pilliver's troubles earlier, but I didn't because I knew it was coming. The chattering. Oh, it haunts me.
Poor Pillover.
Poor Pilliver.
Honestly, I could give you a million more, but I'm not
I
going to. You
know,
could
there's
just read the
so
book
many.
or listen to the book.
Yes, listen to it for sure because Moira Quirk is outstanding. All right. If you liked this, try this. What are you suggesting?
I'm going to recommend a graphic novel.
Oh, nice.
I haven't read it. It is literally on my TBR list this week. It looks very good. I would not say it is. It looks like it's an adult one as well.
Okay.
It's called Little Monsters and it's by Jeff Lemire and the artist is Dustin Nigerian.
Win.
Win.
Yeah.
Oh. Summary. Goodreads. They are the last children on Earth who also happen to be vampires. For longer than they can remember, these child vampires have lived a life of eternal wonder amongst the ruins of humanity. But shocking events fracture the group and set them on a path of discovery that will shatter their innocence forever. It's described as Lord of the Flies meets vampires. Now, everybody knows I detest, with the fiery, burning passion, Lord of the Flies.
But you love vampires.
But this has got vampires.
Right?
So
it's fine.
It's fine.
Fine.
And both the author and the artist are award-winning, and it looks good. It looks really gritty and dark. So
nice.
I'm there for it.
Nice.
So yeah. Plus, it's not often I can come across a good-looking vampire graphic novel at the moment. I think if I read them all, they're a bit meh.
What about that one that I suggested to you? Dracula, motherfucker!
That one sounds ridiculously fun.
That's not what I'm suggesting today.
Might be on our banned books list.
It might.
Ooh, cursey words.
I know. Oh.
What's yours?
The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holton.
That's my workbook.
Is it?
Yes, that's the book I'm reading when I go in the office.
That's wonderful.
I'm about halfway through it because I haven't been in the office for a little while.
It sounds delightful.
It's so sarcastic.
All right, here's the summary. Cecilia Bassingwaite is the ideal Victorian lady. She's also a thief. Like the other members of the Wisteria Society crime sorority, she flies around London drinking tea, blackmailing friends, and acquiring treasure by interesting means. Sure, she has a dark and traumatic past and an overbearing aunt, but all things considered, it's a pleasant experience. Until the men show up. Ned Lightbourne is a sometimes assassin who is smitten with Cecilia from the moment they meet. Unfortunately, that happens to be while he's under direct orders to kill her. His employer, Captain Morveth, who possesses a Gothic abbey bristling with cannons and an unbridled hate for the world, intends to rid England of all its presumptuous women, starting with the Wisteria Society. Ned has plans of his own, but both men have made one grave mistake. Never underestimate a woman. When Morveth imperils the Wisteria Society, Cecilia is forced to team up with her handsome would-be assassin to save the women who raised her, hopefully proving, once and for all, that she's as much of a scoundrel as the rest of them.
It's fun. Vigilante is in this. Vigilante would be a perfect member of the Wisteria Society.
Nice.
No vampires, though.
That's okay. Not everything
Just
can have
sky
vampires
pirates.
See, sky pirates are fine.
I love it. Do we have anything in our spotlight?
We do in our new and indie spotlight segment. This one is coming out in January, I believe, so it's not out yet. And as our potential change of segment name, it has a couple of tenuous links. Doesn't have any vampires, though. I don't think.
Mm.
Anyway, Queen Among the Dead by Leslie Livingston.
That feels ironic.
Livingston? Livingston.
Dead Livingston.
I know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the kingdom of air, banshees chill the air. The water wights lurk in the rivers, but magic is outlawed by the king and jealously hoarded by his druid priests. Neve is the youngest daughter of the king, and Ronan is a druid's apprentice turned thief, making a living by selling stolen spells. They should be enemies, but their shared hatred of the druids and a dark magic that has marked them both makes them unlikely, if uneasy, allies. When air is threatened by a power struggle, Neve must seize the chance to take her rightful place on her family's throne. This is my tenuous link. This is Sid Hay trying to take her rightful place as Alpha of the King Air Pack. Tenuous link. Anyway. With the help of Ronan and the realm's most dangerous outcasts, Neve struggles and does all this stuff. Their journey takes them to the outskirts of Air, where magic still runs free, and where an outlaw and a warrior princess might carve out a future with spells and swords.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a little more fantasy than we typically cover, but, you know.
I like fantasy, though.
Yeah.
Fantasy, and it's like, you know, when we talk about sci-fi, we're like, good sci-fi. You need good fantasy.
Yeah. All right. That's it for this episode of Fictional Hangover. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss Dead in the Family by Charlene Harris. And don't forget about our upcoming live episode on Sunday, October 30th. Yay! We're going to be live again. Okay. Check out all of our social media for posts about that. Look out for our Would You Rather polls on social media. Don't forget about our book club and monthly challenges on Facebook. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangove.redbubble.com for all your favorite fictional hangover-themed merchandise, like Damn You Boobs shirts. And become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.